Hello vinyl community, another fat bearded man talking about records, or you can call me Hedley. Hi, first video of the new year. It's been about a month since my last one. I've been quite busy. I'm doing a master's degree, and for some reason that kind of gets in the way of me shooting these videos. I know, I'm sorry, I need to prioritise. But anyway, Happy New Year. I've been watching and commenting on people's videos when I can. Yeah, so I'm going to I'll tell you what, for a change, I'm going to show you some records. These are some records that I've picked up towards the end of last year. And in fact, I think there's one that I picked up last week. So let's just get on with it. Now I'm going to start actually with a record that I saw being shown by Bruno See Braids. I think that's how you pronounce it. Probably isn't actually. Our VC friend in France. And this is Busman's Holiday, A Long Goodbye. And I think he was sent this as a bit of VTLC. Anyway, I heard him play a little bit of it, and I was intrigued. First of all, I loved the cover. It's a bit shiny, sorry. Sort of all cactuses, and I like that sort of almost, is it a billboard, empty billboard? It's like some kind of almost post-apocalyptic kind of the way nature's taken over. Yeah, and so I heard him play this, and I checked it out on Spotify, and I liked what I heard. It is kind of folky Americana. It's a duet of brothers that they harmonise really well, as most kind of siblings seem to manage to do. And it reminded me a little bit of the Mountain Goats, and I'm a big fan of Mountain Goats. It's got that sense of slightly ramshackle. It's a little bit sparse. It's not overly produced. If you like a bit of kind of light, sort of country-esque, not really country, more Americana. Just nice acoustic music with string quartet. Very nice stuff. So thanks Bruno for showing that. Otherwise I might never have found that band. They did have another album out last year, which I'm hoping to get at some point. Okay, so on to the older stuff. First thing is Jon Stewart, the Phoenix Concerts live. It's a double album. I wasn't overly familiar with Jon Stewart's work. He was from The Loving Spoonful, and there is actually at least one song on here, Never Going Back, brackets, to Nashville anymore, that is a Loving Spoonful song, and I love that song. Sort of country rocky kind of number, and this is brilliant. I need to find some more Jon Stewart. It's the kind of a folky country set, really nice live one, good band, good tunes. Yeah, really like it. From 1974 that, so I'm gonna have to try and pick up some stuff of his from that sort of period. A little bit of jazz, which is a strange one for me. This is Jimmy Ponder. I think the album's just called Jimmy Ponder. It's on America Records, which is I think a French label actually, from 1979. And Jimmy Ponder is a guitar player. I understand he played with sort of people like Lou Donaldson, Jimmy McGriff. And in fact, you can hear some of those sort of influences on this. It's a bit of everything. Is this actually all of the tunes on here are written by Jimmy Ponder, and he's a really good guitar player. There's some sort of laid back jazz. There's some kind of almost bebop kind of stuff going on in here, and some funky stuff. So it's a bit of everything. In fact, practically every tune is a different style. It is a compilation, so that probably tells you why that is. Yeah, really nice stuff. Okay, this is David Holt, sorry. Reel and Rock. This is from 1985 on the Flying Fish label, my favourite label of them all. There he is. And this is, if I show you the back, you can clearly see there are some banjos at work here. So this is a folky, bluegrassy album. He's a banjo player. And what led me to this, apart from it being a Flying Fish record, was we've got Doc and Merle Watson and Jerry Douglas, who are all great players. And yeah, you can hear them on there. It's a smashing kind of folky bluegrass kind of album. Nice stuff. As we're on bluegrass, I picked up, these are actually Discogs, or were they? No, they're eBay. And this is a brace of Stanley Brothers. They're a collection from 1983. That's volume 6 and volume 4, which now means, of course, I'm going to have to go and get the other volumes. Sadly, there's very little information on these about when they were recorded, anything like that. It really annoys me. You can't kind of put things into context. They are older recordings. They're not from 1983. Well, of course, I think Carter Stanley. I think it's Carter Stanley. It was already dead by then. And of course, Ralph Stanley, unfortunately, he died last year. For those of you who don't know him, he's probably famous for singing "Oh Death" on the "Oh Brother Where Art Thou" soundtrack. He's got one of those amazing voices as he got older. So yeah, so a nice couple of things. I'm not familiar with any of the songs on them, but it's straight ahead bluegrass. In fact, if you're interested in bluegrass, Stanley Brothers are a good place to start. Either Jimmy Martin or, of course, Bill Monroe. All good stuff. Some more country. This is proper country this time. This is Porter Wagoner. The hits of Porter Wagoner. This is from 78. It's a compilation of his sort of later 60s and 70s, early 70s stuff. In fact, I think it's all early 70s. And this is a German pressing on RCA. He's an interesting... I mean, he's kind of a ludicrous-looking figure, really, is Porter Wagoner. But then, well, weren't they all back then? Known for his shirts and his hair. Of course, he gave Dolly Parton her first break, and she wrote "I Will Always Love You" as a sort of a goodbye message to him when they split. And this is notable for a couple of tunes on here. One called Indian Creek, which is a funky kind of... Again, I like my funky country. And which is... Yeah, it apart from the sort of slight cultural appropriation of Indian chants and stuff, is pretty good. And there's a track on here as well. Again, another slightly dodgy thing called George Leroy Chickasha, which is the idea of this guy who's... he's part white, part black, part red. Yeah. I don't think he'd write it today, but again, a kind of an interesting, funky tune. I like some of this. He's despite him being quite mainstream, some of his stuff is quite odd and very weird, and those are good examples of the sort of weirdness that he would do. I've probably got another. I've been picking up a bit of Porter Wagoner actually recently, so there may be some more Porter Wagoner coming. Change of pace completely. Eric Satie. Piano Music Volume 3, and here we've got a lovely cover drawn by Picasso, so that's Eric Satie. Yeah, like it says on the tin, really, it's piano music, it's playful, all record. This is from, I did see this, about 78 or something like that. 68, sorry, I tell a lie. I did write these down actually, and I've chosen to ignore them. Yeah, and it's got a rather sad little note on the back written. It says, "To Jeff, the most loving man in my life, I send you oodles of love through Eric's music. May, 1979." Oh, I wonder what happened to Jeff and May. Well, I mean, clearly, maybe they're not together anymore. Anyway, I've got the record now. Ha ha ha! So, Jeff, come and get it. It's got some interesting writing on the back from. They're all sort of. If you don't know, he was sort of working end of the 19th century into the 20th century. So these are all slightly kind of pre-First World War pieces, and he writes very odd kind of reviews or accompaniment to the songs, to the tunes he's written. Like, for example, there's one called Peccadilles Importunes, and the second movement he says, get used to seeing bread and jam without feeling the need to steal it. It could make your head swell up to touch a friend's bread and jam. I had a dog who secretly smoked all my cigars. He had a stomach disorder from them. It was a great sorrow for his father. Yeah, Eric Satie, the father of ambient music. I think he called it furniture music. The idea of background music, something you didn't pay attention to. Just show you the label. It's rather nice. It's on the Late Angel label, which is a rather lovely. You see that? Yeah, I quite like that label. Quite pretty. So Eric Satie, piano music. Now this, I owe one to Seizebreizh. He was showing some records he'd picked up, and he had an album by Commander Cody and his Lost Planet Airmen. It was a live album from the early 70s. And he said he didn't like it. He said it was too kind of barroom, rowdy country. And I went, now that sounds like my cup of tea. So I went out and I searched, found this. And he's right. It is. It's down and dirty country. It's kind of taking that barroom country of kind of Ernest Tubb and reinventing it. So whereas the sort of country rock guys looked to the kind of the folk side of country in some ways, this was in many ways kind of the earliest sort of insurgent country, kind of an alternative country, where they were doing the cover versions of things like Truck Driving Man. And of course this is called Hot Licks, Cold Steel and Truckers' Favourites. And I like the back, we've got this sort of row of trucks going round, and there's the band in the middle. From 1972 on Paramount. So they do a kind of a mixture of barroom country, western swing, with a little bit of sort of rockabilly thrown in there, and piano boogie. Nice stuff. So thanks Seizebreizh. Your loss is my gain. Okay, a bit more up to date. This is Black with Comedy. This is from 1988 on A&M. Now, Black is probably most familiar for his tune Wonderful Life, which was a big hit. He kind of became a one-hit wonder. Now, I had this album on tape, and I loved the song Comedy. I think it's called Comedy. Oh, no, it's Now You're Gone, that's right. The album's Comedy. Duh! Sadly, Colin Verncombe, who is Black, died last year. He'd been in a car accident. And, So another one from the list of 2016. But nice albums, kind of, I suppose, jazzy 80s pop, kind of chamber pop. If you know Wonderful Life, you kind of get the idea. It's a very nice album. It's a shame he didn't get more attention. But yeah, nice album. A couple more. We've got Lost in the Stars, the music of Kurt Weill. For that is his face. And this is a compilation, sort of a project from 85, again on A&M, with various people covering songs by Kurt Weill, often with music, by lyrics by Bertolt Brecht. I've been going through a bit of a Kurt Weill kind of kick at the moment. I don't know if anyone remembers, I showed the Threepenny Opera a couple of videos ago, and I've really kind of thrown myself into it. It was one of the kind of influences of Tom Waits' kind of move when he moved into his sort of ramshackle crash bang wallop phase. And actually this has Tom Waits on it. Tom Waits on it doing What Keeps Mankind Alive. Who else have we got? We've got Lou Reed doing September Song. Sting doing Mac the Knife. Marianne Faithfull's on it. Van Dyke Parks. Todd Rundgren. John Zorn. Yeah, nice album. Some interesting takes. I mean, Lou Reed's take on September Song is not kind of in the style of Kurt Weill, but he finds something interesting and new about it. So worth seeking out if you see it cheap, pick it up. It's a very good album. Jimmy Wakely, Blue Shadows. This is a compilation album from 73. And he was one of the last of the Singing Cowboys. That sounded like a song title. He was, even though he's not wearing one of his rhinestone outfits on the cover there. He's looking, it's kind of sports jacket, isn't it? And think of Jimmy Wakely as a kind of a country crooner in the sort of bit like Bing Crosby, really. The first half of this album are western kind of cowboy songs. We've got Red River Valley, We'll Rest at the End of the Trail, There's a Gold Mine in the Sky, and on the B-side we have kind of gospel, religious songs, Softly and Tenderly, and it's very nice. If you can imagine that sort of Bing Crosby singing cowboy songs. Really nice clean album. I was really pleased to find that. Okay, penultimate one. I showed a Ricky Skaggs in my last video. Oh, not my last one, but my last record haul video, and I picked this up at the same time. The Man and the Mullet. There we go. Wowee! This is Don't Cheat in Your Home. Oh, sorry, Don't Cheat in Our Hometown. And it's really interesting because Ricky Skaggs, bluegrass musician, mandolin, fiddle, real traditionalist, and you can see here, this is from 83, or was it 82? Again, I wrote it down. 83, or 85, sorry. And on Sugar Hill. And you can see completely there, they're trying to move away from the hillbilly aspect of bluegrass and making it very urban. I suppose a little bit of that urban cowboy aesthetic that sort of hit in the 80s. But clearly what you've got here is you've got Nashville skyline night in the background. Anything but hillbilly music the way that's being packaged. And it's a modern updating of that, and it sounds great. There's a really nice version of Uncle Pen, the Bill Monroe song. It's interesting because he is a sort of a hyper traditionalist, and it's interesting to see him embracing more modern sounds and electric guitars and things like that. In fact, it's interesting to hear Uncle Pen. There's like an electric guitar solo on it, which sounds very strange, but actually works. So yeah, really nice album. Okay, and the last one, a bit of folk, bit of English folk for us. This is Jim Eldon. I Wish There Were No Prisons. I Wish There Were No Prisons. This is from 85, 84. And it was Jim Eldon was, or is, sorry, I'm not sure actually, English folk singer from Hull, which is on the east coast, kind of the opposite side to Liverpool, but very similar kind of shipyards and the same sort of thing. And Yeah, it's a great album of English folk songs. We've even got some clog dancing on here from his wife, who, as it says on the back here, was the Northern Counties clog dancing champion, 1982. I thought it was a well fought battle that year. So some of it's a cappella, just him singing. Others with the Leeds band, English folk group. I was first introduced to Jim Eldon through a Andy Kershaw collection, and he was doing a cover version of, it was a Bruce Springsteen song. I can't remember which it was. If I can remember it, I'll put it across here now. If it didn't pop up, I couldn't find it. And yeah, so straight ahead. Really traditional English folk. It's great to hear his Hull accent. Very different from sort of Irish and Scottish folk music. Yeah, really lovely stuff. Traditional, but with a kind of a slightly kind of, I don't know, I want to say a kind of a punk feel to it. Only insofar as it's he's singing in his own voice. There's something, where Billy Bragg, I mean, we've got a similar sort of period really, whereas Billy Bragg was taking folk music and giving electric guitar. Jim Eldon was kind of doing a similar, but more with a kind of an attitude, and more authentic. I might be wrong. It's just my feelings on that. Anyway, so that's Jim Eldon. Thank you for bearing with me. I've been another fat bearded man talking about records. And I've just shown you some records. I'll be back at some point, I'm sure. Until then, bye-bye.